Hello and welcome. This is Gist Nigeria. Coming up on the program. Sledge Ahmad. Mixed reactions trail Twitter suspension by the Nigerian government.
It is illegal, it is unconstitutional, it is draconian.
This is a national security issue.
Our panel discusses what the Twitter ban means for business and democracy in Nigeria. And daring the odds. Woman defies tradition, fires cannon for a living. Plus,
my name is Olushola Ayola and I'm a robotics engineer. Check me out.
The engineer teaching Nigerians robotics and artificial intelligence. Welcome to Gist Nigeria from the BBC and Channels TV, where we bring you stories making the rounds on social media. I'm Ajoke Hulotse. Our top story this week. On Friday, June the 4th, news of the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria jolted the world. Millennials and others who see the microblogging platform as a melting pot of ideas and trade were both shocked and upset. In a matter of seconds, hashtags Keep It On and Twitter Ban Nigeria saw a torrent of messages pouring in from different parts of the world. The federal government cited the reasons for suspending Twitter to include dissemination of fake news, undermining national security, as well as taking down President Muhammadu Buhari's tweet about the security situation in the country and what government intends to do about that situation. The international community has condemned the action, but the federal government says its decision is in the best interest of Nigeria and Nigerians. Gist Nigeria's Sheifumi Olatide tells us more.
The reality of the indefinite suspension of Twitter in Nigeria is beginning to dawn on its estimated 40 million users. The social media platform is silent and may remain so for a while. Twitter was slammed shortly after it deleted a tweet posted by President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday, June the 2nd. It says the tweet violates its abusive policy behavior. In response, the Nigerian government ordered the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission (NBC) to commence the licensing of all OTT channels as a way of regulating online content. Accusing Twitter of disseminating fake news and undermining national security, government says President Buhari's deleted tweet was in no way a veiled threat against the Igbo ethnic group as interpreted in some quarters, but a reference to the attackers of public officials and infrastructure in the country. Recently, public facilities in the southeastern part of Nigeria have come under attack. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it has suffered 41 attacks in 14 states, so are police stations and their officers. For some Nigerians, suspending Twitter was a step taken too far. Others disagree.
A lot of young people have their businesses on Twitter, even older people too have their businesses on Twitter. Organizations around the world in Nigeria and everywhere else have their businesses on Twitter.
My own opinion is that it shouldn't go to that extent of banning Twitter.
I feel like it's okay to regulate social media so that there are some information that are not supposed to just be given out publicly.
The licensing is okay, but it's just a means to put all of them under their control.
The international community has also expressed disappointment in the Nigerian government's decision, so is Twitter. Questions bordering on the impact of the suspension on foreign investment in Nigeria's IT sector, the commitment of the government to freedom of expression, the ripple effect on e-commerce, among others, are still begging for answers. Perhaps days ahead will provide these answers. Sheifumi Olatide, Gist Nigeria.
Interesting. So, I took some of the questions raised in that report you just saw to a panel. Let's take a look at what they had to say. Let me ask you, and I'm going to start with Inibehe, what exactly are your thoughts on the temporary suspension of Twitter by the Nigerian government?
It is illegal, it is unconstitutional, it is draconian, and grossly offensive. To begin with, Section 39 of the Constitution guarantees the right to freedom of expression. For that right to be limited in any manner or form, the Constitution says, that's Section 45, it has to be by a written law that is democratically justifiable, that is reasonably justifiably in a democratic society.
If you look at what the federal government did within that window, they said we have suspended, not banned, Twitter from operating in Nigeria by asking Twitter to come forward if they truly want to do business in Nigeria, regularize, register in Nigeria as a Nigerian business, hire Nigerian labor, pay Nigerian tax, submit yourself to the window of Nigerian regulation.
Did a suspension have to happen before that? We have all other social media platforms. If it's just to regularize, why did they have that sit down, even before the suspension?
Nobody can say here that there was not a sit down. There can never be a suspension without the regulatory framework. Has Twitter come forward and said they wanted to regularize and they were asked that there are no process of getting regularized? Don't forget, in Nigeria, there are so many media organizations that have been licensed. And in as much as we want to see Twitter as a technology, Twitter is actually a media organization. They are licensed with the same regulatory framework.
Let me just come in there and ask for Pamela Henry's thoughts. What do you make?
Mr. Garba has been using Twitter forever. He even used this platform to promote his new app. So where was his energy while they were all protesting? Why now? Is it fear? What are you scared of?
Dr. Adeshino, your thoughts?
They're asking the whole world to give all the regulatory powers, which is enshrined in the constitution of various countries, to cede it to them so that there will be no regulation to what they do. That is what Twitter is asking.
Inebe, you're a lawyer, and you mentioned earlier that there's really no law to support, what the presidency has done in banning. But did the government breach any constitutional law?
Section 36, subsection 12 of the Constitution says that an act or omission is not an offense, except it is codified in a written law. The question is, which law today makes it a crime for Nigerians to tweet? Mr. Gaba Adamu said something about registration. I think that is very highly misleading. He has his own app, social media app. I would like to ask him, can that app be accessed in Australia? Can't it be accessed anywhere in the world? Has he gone to those countries to register his app? Twitter does not have a physical office in Nigeria. If they were to come to Nigeria to start an office, to start business formally in Nigeria, they could have had cost to register with the CAC. But don't forget, this is not a reason given by the federal government.
Let me talk to Adamu Garba now. Do you feel like this situation could have been better handled by both government and Twitter, seeing that this is not the first time that the president of a country has been suspended from, we've seen Donald Trump being suspended from Twitter, we've seen his tweets deleted, on the same platform. Do you feel like, the government and Twitter could have better handled this situation?
The fact that they have done what they did to Donald Trump during the run-up to 2020 election does mean that they are American company and they have right to act on American president because they are obeying the same American laws. But supposing our own social media app, Crow, if we are in Nigeria and we decided to suspend Donald Trump in America for violating American rules, they will have sent us away. The Homeland Security, the CIA, and whatever security agencies will send us away. You can see what America did to TikTok. When TikTok tried to come into their country, they vehemently and ruthlessly pushed them away simply because they are not an American company. So platform companies should not operate as a black market or insurrectionist tool like Twitter has been doing.
Now, I'm going to ask Dr. Adeshino this. He is a scholar, but Twitter has its own rules. How it operates, what works, how you can report. They are laid down rules. Would you say that the president's post breached Twitter rules?
Twitter or any other tech giant should not be left alone to make their own rules, interpret the rules, and then punish offenders. This you are talking about a platform that has a reach of about more than 2 billion people in the world. There is no country in the world that has no regulatory body controlling communications. In the UK, we have Ofcom, Office of Communications. You have Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria. You have all over the country, all over the world. You have them, but these tech giants have a platform by which citizens of a country can bypass the regulatory bodies and regulatory conditions in different countries, thereby making laws passed by the National Assembly of that country irrelevant.
Bamilarin, you are a Twitter influencer.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is the size of the particularly with Nigeria dealing with huge unemployment as we speak? What is the implication?
So now now they just made it worse because we are all jobless now. We will have to go back to the streets, and they are not the government. They are not ready to provide jobs, so they are now adding more to the unemployment. They are losing about 2 billion every day.
Mr. Garba, are you worried at what this could do for unemployment and for young people in Nigeria?
Yes, there are some people that might want to say they are making money on top of Twitter, which is right. There are so many people that have made money on top of Twitter, but I want those people to understand that money that they are making is a surface value. The root value is trying to uproot the country called Nigeria. And until you have the country living peacefully, responsibly, and delivering its own promises, you will not have any business to do on Twitter.
What could be the international backlash? Let me ask you, Barrister, and then...
I'm expecting that people like Lai Mohammed, people like AGF Malami, people like Adamu Gaba, who are promoting the shrinking of the specific space, who want to turn this Nigeria into a dictatorship, who are telling us that a president who claims he came to a democratic government can wake up and shut down a cyberspace, they should be placed on travel ban. They shouldn't be allowed to go to those countries where these rights are enjoyed.
To the best of my knowledge, I think Nigeria has set first standard in how to handle this tech giant. You need to see some articles on Reuters yesterday. It was very, very clear that so many countries are facing problem with these so-called tech giants because they are, as the doctor said, they are the jury, they are the police, and they are the executive, and they take over the power of countries. You know what is happening in India currently. India is also making all arrangements to ban Twitter. Similarly, many countries in the world are facing the same standard. As much as possible, if you look at the statement of all these international bodies, what they are saying is they are concerned about freedom of information. They are not concerned about Twitter's suspension per se, but freedom of information might be hindered.
The whole world cannot afford to allow the tech giants to rule the media space, which controls radio, television, and even the print media.
Now, what we've seen is prominent Nigerians still tweeting. I don't use Twitter, but I've seen it on WhatsApp. But you know, what does this mean for freedom of speech?
I'm still tweeting. I'll continue to tweet. I'll continue to defy, to flagrantly disobey this arbitrary order.
I think the barrister in the studio that is talking about is trying to violate the law, even have mouth to talk about the law because the law is made by the people of this country. If it is Twitter that made that law, you don't have anything. It's the bots and the algorithm that will control you, and you have no say about it. So the fact that government say that we should avoid this platform that is capable of breaking the country down, any other person that is patronizing that is clearly aiding and abetting the breaking of the country, and should have
government,
to be
government offices are tweeting. The NCDC tweeted days ago. I've seen a governor tweet.
Not anymore, because most of them are expecting
a popular governor has tweeted since this happened.
They are expecting a circular from the government. You know, when a statement goes out, there are supposed to be official documentation. That's how government works. It's a bureaucracy. And now the circular has moved around. I am not sure there is any government body that is currently tweeting.
How can we balance regulating social media vis-a-vis having people have a right to express their mind, having information cut across? Dr. Deshina.
There has to be an international convention with people drawn from different parts of the world to come up with a regulatory framework onto what these tech giants can do and not do with their platforms.
What should be concerning us, what should be of interest to us, is why Naira is now above 500 to $1. Why is the economy dwindling? Why are people being slaughtered daily? What is happening to our justice system? Why has the president not reformed the country? Where is the restructuring that they promised? These are the things that they campaign on. They did not tell us they were going to shut down Twitter. They did not tell us they were going to regulate social media.
This is a national security issue. It has nothing to do with civil discourse. It's a national security issue.
All right.
And the reason why the suspension and all those regulations are being put in place is to be able to forestall the consequences of lack of order and stability in the land.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. We really do appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. The world is hoping for a lasting resolution of these issues. Still ahead on Gist Nigeria. A young farmer promotes urban farming as he embraces soilless crop production. We'll bring you the story and more after the break. Stay with us.